Consumer behavior in the Nordic countries. What's happening? This was the title of a track at the 23rd Nordic Academy of Management Conference held at Copenhagen Business School in August 2015. Some 20 papers were presented in this track, and in a minute you'll hear more about the findings from some of the researchers who were participating in the track. Consumer behavior is a broad and generous label comprising many different issues, theories and research methods. So there are many differences between consumer behavior researchers. Yet most of them share a strong interest in learning more about consumers and how they acquire, use and get rid of products. In any event, consumer behavior is really a dynamic research field. Indeed, a recent and very ambitious assessment of research in various fields of marketing research shows that the contributions in this area are increasing, so knowledge production is indeed expanding. In relation to other fields of marketing research, the assessment also shows that consumer behavior researchers are relatively successful in terms of how much they are able to explain. Many companies are also interested in consumer behavior issues because the consumers are not always easy to understand. What we do know, for example, is that most new products fail in the market, presumably because firms did not pay enough attention to why consumers would need these products. One of the researchers who participated in the consumer behavior track was Ulrika Holmberg.
Ulrika Holmberg, what were the most important findings of the research you presented?
Yeah, we presented a study on households battery recycling, and what we found out was that the battery's way through the household was all but straight. It was full of twists and turns, and we also discovered that some taboos around what batteries are and that they are hazardous, for example, could help the consumers to recycling them in the end.
Tobias Otterbring from Karlstad University was another consumer behavior researcher at the track.
Tobias, what were the main findings of the research you presented?
In one of the papers that I presented, I found that an employee greeting the customers upon arrival to the store with versus without the store's products, being near the employee, had activated the customer's persuasion knowledge, so customers were more likely to think that the employee was trying to make a sale, and this in turn had a negative influence on customers' approach behaviors and actual money spent in store.
Sofie Sagforsen from Stockholm School of Economics was also at the conference. She is doing research on consumer experiences.
Sofie Sagforsen, you have just presented a paper on people who took part in a ski race. What were the main findings?
One of the main findings were that besides looking at customer satisfaction, it's also important to measure other things such as motivation and various intentions occurring after the purchase.
And were there any other interesting findings?
That people participating in endurance races are both motivated intrinsically but also by extrinsic external factors and rewards.
What are the main managerial implications of your findings?
Try to not focus only on customer satisfaction, but also on what happens after being satisfied, like future purchase intentions.
And Hannele Kaupinen-Reisinen from Vasa in Finland was another of all the consumer behavior researchers presenting findings at the conference.
Hannele, what were the most important findings in your research?
Well, we studied colors and what colors communicate eco-labeling on products, and we found out that green, for example, is not only green, it can be blue, yellow or black depending on your age, for example. But what we also found out that what green is not. Green is not pink. So it means that if you want to communicate your, let's say, environmental friendly product, you should not have pink, but you don't need to have only green. And you could also focus on different shades of green.
The next time this conference will be held is 2017 in Modig in Norway. And who knows, maybe there will be a consumer behavior track also then. There is definitely much more to learn about the contemporary consumer.